Good morning, everyone. Good morning. We waited for you guys to show up, and here you are. You delivered. Thanks for coming. They asked me what is new and exciting. The first thing they did when I walked in the door is that Kevin asked me what's new and exciting, and I didn't have an answer. But then they started coming to me. First of all, I paid for my parking with an app today. Yes, clap for the city of Peoria. Finally realized that nobody uses quarters, that it's more expensive to make a penny than a penny is actually worth. Nobody has dimes or nickels. They just go into the side of your car and into wherever they can get lost. So thanks to the city of Peoria for launching that pilot program. I'm a user. Wow. And you are too. Vince told me about it this morning, so thanks for the heads up. So that's new and exciting. What else is new and exciting? Today, at the Nest, we're launching a program called Open Co-working, which is exactly like it sounds. Open Co-working. Do you get that? Anybody can come to the Nest between the hours of 9 to 5 and just hang out and work with us. Daniel will be there. I think Jarek's going to stop by today to check it out. Andrew will be there. Any of you. Paul might show up. You never know. It's going to be a star-studded cast of characters. What's that?
So it's like open house, only open co-working?
Yeah, like open house. It'll be an open nest. So if you guys ever wondered what it was like to co-work or just what it looks like above sugar, stop on by between 9 and 5 and we'll be there. So that's both new and exciting. That's two things. What's new and exciting also is what he has to talk about. I'll let him get to that in a minute. Startup weekend, the last day to register is Friday. I published a little FAQ yesterday on the blog, startuppeoria.com blog, with a couple of questions that I've been getting in the community. Do I have to be an entrepreneur to participate? No. Will I own a business when I leave the weekend? No. Do I have to come as a team? No, you can come as an individual and join a different team. That's kind of the value of it. What other was the ones people were scared of? I don't know. Anyway, invest $80 on a weekend in your future self and come to Startup Weekend. If you have any questions, just send me an email or find me after this. I paid for parking with this app so I can stay here as long as I want. Although I do need to be at the Nest for Open Co-working at 9 o'clock. So find me afterwards. Let's hang out. We'll introduce ourselves to each other, and we'll become best friends. This guy's got something new and exciting to talk about. This is Jarek Hamilton from Normal or Bloomington?
Normal.
Normal. He's from Normal. We have a lot of friends in Normal. I was there a couple of weeks ago hanging out. You weren't there, I don't think.
No, I was working my 9 to 5.
Yeah. He's got a 9 to 5 and a side hustle in the hours that he's not at work, called QikPix, and it's a pretty cool thing. He was a finalist at Key Start 2 Key Starts ago. Didn't win, but is going to maybe have the last laugh because they're on the up and up. So welcome from Normal, Jarek Hamilton.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I always like talking to people about QikPix and what we're doing, and I just really like interacting with everybody in the startup community. So thank you for coming out today, this morning, and listening and being a part of this. It's always exciting for me to be able to do this type of stuff. So I'll get into what QikPix is in a second. We're a photography services company, but I want to tell you about the problem in this industry that most people don't realize is happening, and that's what gives us our leg up to be able to stand in this business. So one of the problems with the photography industry is that the emerging camera equipment and all of this software that makes it so much easier for people to take their own photos has created a whole new type of photographer. And this photographer is an amateur photographer. There's nothing bad with an amateur photographer. They do their family photos, friends, things like this. But what this amateur photography industry has done is it's completely disrupted the professional industry that everybody has always really known about. And that's the industry that used to cost $100, $150 to get an hour-long photo session taken. Now it's upwards of $300, $400, and even $500 in places like Peoria and Bloomington. So I have 4 kids. I'm not going to pay $500 for a photo session. I don't care if the photographer came from GQ magazine. I'm not going to pay $500. So this kind of gave me and my wife an idea to create a new industry within an industry, build a new infrastructure, and that's what QikPix essentially does. So we figured that if we can create a really good price point and keep the same level of quality, that we'd be able to give people a better product and still be able to put photographers to work. So we decided to build a website that would do this. So QikPix is essentially a platform that allows photographers from all over the country and the world to connect with customers through our service. We're a third-party service that allows a customer to get online to our website. You put in some vital key parts of information. You tell us your date, things like that, of when you want a photographer, and we match you to a local photographer, and you pay a flat price of $50. That's all you pay. You meet your photographer, they upload all your photos into the system, and this is where we change another part. Normally when you get your photographs taken, you get about 15, maybe 20 photos back edited. The photographer took 400 or 500 photos. So with 4 kids, I like when my kids act goofy. I like when they act crazy. Those photos mean something to me, but to a professional photographer, most of the time, they think they're bad shots and they go to waste. So what we decided to do was give all of these back to the end customer. So in the website, after the photographer meets you, they take your photos, they upload them into the system, you get an email notification, text alert, hey, your photos are ready for viewing. You go in there, you have every single photo that they took. And they're all yours. We don't keep any of them. We don't want your photos. They're all yours just for the $50 that you paid for your hour photo session. You can take those photos then, and it's up to you to choose which ones you want to have professionally edited. So you'll click on 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, and then you'll send them to our editing service. And this is where our editing service is a little bit unique too. Instead of the photographer doing all of the editing, QikPix has multiple editors doing one job. So instead of one photographer doing 10, 20, 30 photos, we have 10, 20, eventually 30 editors doing one photo. So the process is streamlined at the lowest level it can be, and that gives the end customer the best price, and it allows us to be as efficient as possible and give you back all your photos in the smallest amount of time, which is 12 hours is what we guarantee for you to get all your photos back. And then if a customer has 200 photos from a birthday party that they want, they can also upload them into the system, into their folder, and then they can send them off to be edited as they choose to one of our editors across the country. So those are the 2 main things that we hit on with QikPix. Was we decided that the editing portion needed to change, and then the physical photography needed to change. And combining these 2 processes and streamlining them, we figured that we could really come in. So what we did is we created MVP, which most people know that you got to do when you're creating a business model. Learned very quickly an MVP can be anything that you want it to be. So we took Facebook for our MVP, and we kind of launched and got our name out there and told people what we wanted to do. We tried keeping as true to the process as possible while using something like Facebook. And it took off immediately. We then built a website within the first week, like a landing page, which is what we're operating on now, that allowed people to connect with us, connect to the photographer, facilitate the monetary transaction, and that's what we started using. So in a month that we operated, before winter set in, we did about 45 customers, and we delivered over 6,000 photos back to customers, otherwise which they wouldn't have necessarily gotten if they'd have went with a regular photography service. So that's what we did to kind of get our idea out there, validate it. Once we validated it, we got amazing feedback. We decided we needed to go the step further. So this is where we're at right now with QikPix. We now have a full team building out a new website and eventually mobile app development. And the website will be done probably about end of March. Should be done and ready to be launched to everybody. And then the mobile app development is going to follow later. It's going to be on the iOS platform. So we focused on that during the winter months. We secured the people to build that for us, which are out of co-working facility that I'm at. So everything's kind of in-house that we're doing. And they got on that, and then we decided to turn our attention to really building out the network now that the infrastructure was in place. So now we have about 38 people around the country in almost half the country. So in a month that we've really dedicated our time and attention on focusing, getting these photographers and editors to be able to get the customers and facilitate the needs, we've built it out from 3 people to over 30 in almost half the country. We're now in, I think, a little bit over 20 states. And that was all done in a month. So those were some of the biggest processes that people were telling us, well, you're not going to be able to do, and we did it. and the photographers love it. We pay them a flat rate. We pay all of our editors a flat rate. They're all independent contractors. They work on their own time. So QikPix doesn't just provide a valuable asset to customers. It doesn't just give customers, a great price point and a great service. It gives photographers that we've met across the country who otherwise are going out of work because they can't compete and can't charge $500 and they can't invest the thousands of dollars in equipment and all of these different things and run the business like a photography business needs to be ran, because they do everything. We've given them back their time and their lives. They can choose to do whatever they want. They can work for us full-time, work for us part-time. They can do it however they want. And it's the same thing as the editors as well. So we've really given the customer a great price, and we've given photographers who otherwise would have been out of work, we've given them back the choice to be able to make money in an industry that they love, either full-time or part-time. So we've really given them a great set of options. So that's where QikPix is at right now. I know that was very quick. I usually get a ton of questions that I wind up answering during the presentation. So I feel more comfortable just letting anybody ask questions that they may have.
Yeah, you're at 6 minutes.
Yeah, that's QikPix, and that's where we're at now. So I'll take any questions you guys may have. I'll have business cards afterward to give everybody, so you guys will be able to know how to contact us and be able to use the site, everything like that. So I'll go ahead and take questions from anybody that has any.
I have a question and comment. I saw you guys back in the winter at the Key Start, and I heard where you guys were and where you guys are at now, what you guys have done in terms of what you've accomplished is amazing.
Thank you.
Question that I have for you is, it sounds like you've done a fabulous job of kind of conceptualizing it. From a photographer's perspective, are you also going out and seeking the jobs so that you will be able to have jobs abundantly available for photographers as well? Places like, every year our kids come home with pictures from school kind of thing. Are you guys looking to contract for services as well?
We're not looking to contract for services right now, and I'll give you an explanation why. The idea of QikPix is to create kind of like a standard within a certain part of the industry. So maybe I didn't hit on that actually. What we really specialize is in family photography, lifestyle photography. So if you'd like to have a photographer at your son's birthday party, or if you're doing an anniversary dinner with your wife and you want to have some photos done for something like that, that's what we really specialize in. A lot of the school photography and things like that, they have contracts with printing services, and we're working on getting a printing service, but it's only going to be available to customer. We're not going to use them directly. So we have to be able to say that every one of our photographers is going to be able to produce the quality that we'd expect at all times. So we can't say that a photographer in California is going to be able to, take 50 kids' photos and things like that, but we're able to vet them for specifically family photography and lifestyle photography. We do have photographers that have done work like that, and we know we're completely capable, but we're not really trying to build that infrastructure just yet until we get the really groundwork solidified as to what we're doing right now. It's definitely something we've thought about and we hope to do in the future, though.
So with photographers in 20 states, what's your marketing plan to be able to get out there to customers to start to utilize the service in all those states?
That's a good question. Our marketing plan is through social media because it's the best. A lot of people kind of think that, it's Facebook ads and Twitter ads and Instagram ads, but them Facebook ads and Twitter ads and Instagram ads, I am able to specifically pinpoint the exact area that my photographer is willing to travel and advertise only in that area to maximize the amount of potential customers that I can bring to them. So we really get down to the fine details. We run A and B testing on what our ads look like, what brings back the most people, and what's eventually going to bring back the most customers to the photographer. So we use a lot of Facebook, and we're getting ready to roll out more ads now that winter's coming out. And we're getting ready to prepare for springtime coming back and everything like that. So we're doing a lot of Facebook, doing a lot of Twitter, doing a lot of Instagram ads, and yeah, that's the best marketing plan that we've come up with, and it's the one that works. So going with what works is definitely what we're going to do, of course, and it's really affordable. Taking out a radio spot, for one area costs a lot of money. But it does not take a lot of money if you really know how to operate within the the ad platforms on these social media accounts. That's what we've been doing, and that's what we're going to continue to do. Yes.
What's your structure today, your infrastructure to actually pair customers with the photographers or with the editors across the country?
As of right now,
As of right now and in the future?
with the landing page, what happens is you'll get on there, and it's a landing page, it's still MVP type mode. So you'll get on there, and there's a page on there where you can contact us, and you just put in basic information. It lets us know where you're at. You put in a date, let us know kind of when you're looking for your photographer. And then we directly reach out to our photographers, who most of them we know their schedules already just because we've kind of told them what direction we're going in. And they've kind of adapted to the new model, so they're really open to it as well. So you'll contact us, and then we essentially reach out to them, and then we let you know that that works, and then you pay for the service, and then you link with the photographer to actually have your photos taken. So what we're doing right now is exactly what the website is going to do, all automated. Because that's what the actual website will be able to do, is you'll do everything through there, put in that key information that you'd give us, and the photographers will already have had their calendar built out within the site for as long as they want to build it out for, and then it automatically matches you up and pairs you. And if the times don't link up, it lets you know that if you wanted a 2 o'clock, they have 4 or 5 or the next best available dates, and that's kind of how the system will work. So we're acting kind of as a middleman, exactly how the website would act. And it's worked out okay so far. Most people that are trying the service and with the photographers, they all understand how new it is. It's a very new model for an industry that's been around for hundreds of years. So it really takes that mind to adapt to it, and it's worked out very well. Everybody's been pretty happy with it so far.
Where do you get your list of photographers? Do they come to you? You go to them? Or
That's a
are
good
they
question.
Are they new photographer? Are they been in business a long time?
Yes.
Repeat the question.
What's that?
Could you repeat the question to the crowd?
I might.
Yes, she asked how we find the photographers. Do they come to us, and how the process works of making sure that they're qualified enough, right? So this is a very good question, because I had a lot of people doubt how we would actually even be able to do that. Everybody said a photographer's not going to want to take photos and then give away the photos to let somebody else edit them. It's just something that's never been done before. And they were wrong. These photographers found us. My wife is a professional photographer as well as working in the medical field, and she put out some stuff on some posts on Facebook and things like that of some pages that she's a part of, and they found us really quickly, and we've had to turn people away. Some people don't really fit the model, but the ones that do, we go through our vetting process. So if they want to be a photographer, we ask them for unedited 10 photos. I think it's 10, maybe 12 photos, I think, that she gets from them that are unedited, and then we do a reverse search in Google to make sure and see where they kind of show up at, to make sure they didn't steal the photos from anybody. And that's how we vet the photographer, just for the photography portion. And then if they want to do the editing services, we send every editor a set amount of photos, the exact same photos every time. And then we look at the quality of the photos, and then we kind of have to match it on what type of range we want them to fall into. So because it's all lifestyle shoots, we want anybody anywhere in the country and eventually the world to be able to say, I want a photographer, I'm going to get on QikPix because I know their quality is always this standard, that's what I'm looking for, and it's very easy to use. That's kind of the idea. So we make sure that the editing quality is the same across the board. There's some different variations in styles, but they all meet the quality that we expect. And they have all been in the business for years. I have a lady that has actually done books and magazines and stuff like that. I think she's in Richmond, Virginia, and she actually wants to work with us. She doesn't want to do the photography aspect right now until we move to larger events like the gentleman was talking about back there. But she wants to do the editing services right now. So that's what we've been doing. And last night I actually had a meeting with, I'm going to mess this up, an industrial organizational psychologist that has a master's degree in being able to tell whether people are going to match up with a company in the most appropriate way and how they're going to work. And he does algorithms and stuff. I have no idea what it is. I know it's like next level business stuff, and I know it's going to serve a purpose later, but it's going to give us a real identity of being able to tell right off the bat later on down the road that this person, because they answered these questions this way, and we can kind of gauge how they're going to be with the company. But he even told me when he asked what we had done to vet them, that looking at the quality of one's work is the absolute best way to make sure that somebody is going to be able to live up to what they say. And that's what we've been doing. Yes.
Who's your competition? Is it professional photography studios, or is it Instagram, or are you in between? And if you are in between, is there anybody else in there?
We're kind of in between. Some photographers look at us as, competition, and I can see that. When they're trying to charge the $250 or $300, we're definitely going to be competition in their area. But they can also look at us as an asset, which is what the ones that we've gotten so far to work with us, that's what they've done. They've looked at us as an actual asset. So it can be interpreted in a couple different ways. Instagram and the Instagram filters and things like that, we did surveys on this type of stuff in the very beginning just to find out what people thought about them. And 90% of people don't like Instagram filters. They just use it because they don't have to download another app in their phone, and it's just more convenient. But so Instagram, I guess, and things like that, I don't really see them as competitors. We do have direct competitors in the editing field. So there are people in the editing business that do take your photos and they'll edit them for, X amount of dollars, and then they'll give them back to you. So there's a few of them. There's, Photox, and then there's the Image Salon out of Canada. And they have great work. They have decent prices, but they cater more towards wedding photographers and things like that, people that don't have time to edit hundreds of photos, and they take those photos and they'll edit them and they'll give them back to you. A lot of times they charge way more money than what we do, and that was one of the first things we looked at is what price point those competitors are hitting on. And they always start out at about 99 cents, and then you'll click about 3 buttons like remove red eye or make the sky bluer, and then all of a sudden your photo is $9 that you thought was going to be 99 cents. And I've used the service, and some of them have taken 24 hours to 48 hours, or to I'm sending you 3 emails to get my photo back 4 days later. So we do have direct competitors in that field. There is nobody I have seen, you can scour the internet, and if you find one, please let me know. There's nobody that I have seen that is in the specific business of matching customers with photographers through a network. There are services that allow you to find event photographers and things like that, but they don't match you. They don't facilitate a transaction. They don't provide really any service or any substance. They just have photographers listed on their site, and then it's your job, much like it has always been, to either ask somebody, use Google, or kind of just judge the quality of their work and then hire them. But that still requires a customer combing through photographers to find the best price, best quality, and what matches up the best. So there's nobody that I have seen in that area, but if you find one, let me know. I'll give you a card and you can email me, because the internet's huge and I've been looking, but I haven't found any so far. So we do have direct and indirect competitors. Anybody in the industry could be considered an indirect. It's just a matter of how they interpret it and how we interpret it. Yes?
In terms of your engagement with the editors, so you get this work and the photos get uploaded. Are the editors in competition for editing jobs that come in, or how does that, or do you specifically assign them to a specific editor?
No, they're not in direct competition. So the way the editing will work, and I say will work because the editing part is much trickier than matching people with a photographer. So the way the editing service is going to be built is that an editor will just simply log into the system, and as long as they stayed logged in, much like Uber works, they'll get photos coming to them. And so if there's 10 or 20 or 30 or 50 editors in there, obviously we've probably built out the infrastructure and have the photos. They're just going to get doled out in the system of which they logged in or when they complete them. So whenever an editor completes a photo, marks it as complete, it goes back to the customer. Another one will shoot into their inbox. They'll be able to take the photo out. And if they get busy before they complete the photo, or their kid falls down some steps, or God forbid anything like that happen, if they just walk away after a certain amount of time, the photo kicks back into the system unedited and gets doled out to another editor. And these editors are everywhere in the country. So the industrial organizational psychologist has told me that eventually, I got to get better at saying it, eventually with the algorithms that he's going to be able to put in place for us to determine what customers' wants and needs or likes or dislikes are, we might create a series of little photos when you log onto the site and give you some free edits for I like this picture better, or this picture better, or this picture better. And what we're building is it's going to be the determination of what photos you really like personally, and then we gauge our editors on that as well. So if you tend to like photos just a little bit darker, and we know we have an editor who's amazing, but they do a little bit darker shading in all of their photographs, we're eventually going to be able to automatically match you every time you're in our system to that specific editor. It's going to be the little minute details that always keep people involved with it and keep people coming back. Because if that's what you like, and we know that just from a few different photos that you click through each and every time, we're going to have that editor available, and we're going to make that the editor that you wind up going with. So we're going to have groups of people like that eventually. Yes.
When do you think you'll be at like 100% automation ready to go, and what are your obstacles getting there?
The initial beta will be ready by the end of March.
Okay.
So the end of March, maybe the first week of April, depending upon what type of setbacks and things like that they're building. So that'll be ready, and we're going to be able to plug in all of our photographers and all of our editors into that new system. It's going to be able to kick out the photos like I'm describing. It's going to be able to match you up with a photographer just like that, at least in the states that we do have. And that'll be ready by March. The obstacles getting there, I wish I knew exactly what they're doing. I have no clue. I'm not a tech guy at all, not even a photographer. So I don't know exactly what obstacles they're facing. I know that the infrastructure of how I need it to be built is difficult. They tell me that all the time. But it sounds like it's going really well. It looks amazing. I wish I actually had the answer of like what they're encountering. I know that it is a lot of work though, because it's something that hasn't really been done on the multiple level with the photographer and the editor and then the customer. It's a really intricate system. So I'm sure that they do have a lot of stuff that they're overcoming. But the initial beta will be ready in the beginning of April. We actually have one of the largest tech conferences in the country that we're going to be presenting at. It's called Collision, and that's at the end of April. And there's going to be about 15,000 people there, and VCs from all over the world, and CEOs and CFOs and all these different people. So it better be built by the beginning of April. Does anybody else? Yes.
Have you run into any problems where a customer wasn't happy with an edit, and if so, or if not, and that's something that's yet to occur, how would you handle that and go about fixing it?
So we haven't ran into anything where a customer has been like, oh, I just don't like the photo. Like I said, we're really early. I guarantee we're going to run into it. So the idea of what we're going to have in place is that when you get the photo, when a photo gets edited and it gets sent back to you, you're going to get an alert saying, hey, your photo's ready for viewing, or your 10 photos or whatnot are all ready for viewing. And then you're going to be able to rate the photo to potentially get free edits from us, and that's going to help us with our psychologist and the algorithms. But you'll also be able to say, like, I don't like the photo for this specific reason. So one of the biggest things with these other services is that they give you 90 options, 100 options of how you want your photo and different things like that. We found from, just talking to people that customers pretty much, a lot of them want the same thing. If you're going to use our service, you're pretty much going to know what to expect when you come to it. So you're going to get what you expect. You're going to have the option of picking black and white or whether you want the photo in color. But other than that, the options are really going to be limited. If there's a dog in the picture that you don't want there, you'll be able to say remove dog in like a options box. And if you don't like it, you'll be able to let us know. It'll get sent back into the system, and it'll probably be free to be revised. Like if you say, I meant to click black and white, but it came color, that's understandable. It's a mistake, So we'll send it back in the system. It'll be free, of course. We want to guarantee our service. If you keep, oh, well, now this, and now this, and now this, then we're probably going to have to develop something where, eventually you're going to pay again for the photo to keep being edited before we start losing money to the editor and time to the customer. So it'll be something like that. But if you immediately don't like it, we'll understand. We'll send it back in. It'll more than likely go to a different editor. Probably won't go back to the same editor unless they're like immediately in the system. You kick it back in. It could potentially go to them, but it'll most likely go to somebody else. So you'll get a different take on a take on it. You'll get a different, unique little style on the editing service. So it's going to be one of them things where we're going to encounter it, and it's probably going to that answer is probably going to change so much because customers' demands are going to change, customers' wants are going to change, and I'm glad that that answer is going to change so much because we want to adapt to what a customer wants. So the more we get into it, and the more we keep working with it, and the more that we see and find out what customers are saying or what they don't like or what they do like, or we'll adapt and we'll keep changing. So the answer will change a million times, but that's kind of what we have played out right now on how the system will work. Yes.
Every photographer has his own style, so does the customer have the chance to pick which photographer, can the person see his work before, or do you pick the photographer for the customer?
We pick the photographer for the customer. And the reason for that is because the vetting process. We want somebody in California to be able to use our service and get the same level of quality that they would have expected when they were on vacation in New York and wanted photos of, you know, him and his girlfriend or, you know, him and his wife at the Empire State Building. Because that's essentially what we want the system to do. So we don't want to give a real solid rating system to the photographers as far as a customer perspective, because then we're going to stack photographers against photographers in certain areas, because we already have photographers, 3 photographers that are located in like Denver. So we don't want them competing, because then that's essentially, you know, going to give one person more money and things like that. So it all comes back to the system that we put in place to vet them. We make sure that they all have a level of quality that we can tell our customers that that's what they should expect. And if you're expecting, you know, something different, then you're probably not going to use the service. You know, unless you know what you want, and when we match it, it's probably going to be one of them things where you say, oh no, I want a different type of photographer. So you're not going to really have the option of looking at a portfolio or anything like that. The idea of QikPix is to be able to tell a customer, we've done this work for you. Because you'll have to look through Facebook or your friends, or call different, you know, call 3 of your friends and ask them, have you guys used a photographer? Have you used this person? And then you have to look through reviews, and then you go through and look at their portfolios. And that's part of what everybody does right now. It's part of what me and my wife do to find somebody. And it's really aggravating when trying to find a photographer, you know, especially if you want one that weekend. It's one of them quick thoughts that you want one, or you want one the next week. So we want to take all that away from a customer and just let you know that we've done all this work for you. We want it to be as simple as it possibly can be. We want you to know what you're going to expect. We want to deliver on that, and that's how it's pretty much going to be. Yes?
You just mentioned something that, this is just a comment, but that traveling aspect, like you go on a vacation with your family, you're probably not going to bring a photographer. I know some people do, but if you want photos, I mean, what an excellent option. I think you should definitely explore that, like, marketing angle, I guess, in addition to the you're at home, find somebody locally. But that is tremendous. For $50 and then 99 cents a photo, that's a no-brainer for some people who are traveling.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'm glad you do like it.
I'm going to wrap this up a little. Are there any more?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
How do you address confidentiality? So, you know, how do you ensure that the photos that are taken are all the possession of the victim of the photograph, and then when the editing happens, how do you keep that all contained, or do you even deal with that?
So when a photographer takes all the photos, we can't say for certain that they're going to put all the photos into the system. We have to be able to trust them. So here shortly we'll be doing background checks on them just to make sure that they're, you know, trustworthy in that aspect. We don't ever want a customer to get somebody really horrible as a photographer that we didn't catch. So we do that type of stuff, and then it's really going to be a trust thing to make sure the photographer uploads all the photos in the system. A photographer, when they upload them, they can't see into your folder. So if when you log into the site and you create, you know, your username, password, you're going to get your own folder. And all that's going to be associated with that folder from a photographer and editor aspect is like an ID tag, a digital ID tag. So the photographer will never be able to go into your folder and pull out your personal photos ever. All they can do is just upload them. And they can't go ahead and, like, they could do it the one time if they really wanted to, like, upload other photos, But they'll upload your photos, they can't ever pull anything out, and vice versa with an editor. An editor can't ever see into your folder because the photos come out through the system. When your photo gets sent in to be edited, it goes into a portal specifically built just to contain these photos, and then it gets kicked out to the editor. And then that digital ID tag, again, is what's associated with them putting it back into your account there. So, and we'll probably get a notification saying like, hey, they copied the photo or something like that. It's something that the tech guys, of course, are going to have to be able to build. It's something that we've talked about, and that's probably something that'll definitely come. I'm not sure if it's going to be in a beta. A lot of it's going to have to do with, trust and things like that. But there are definitely, as we grow and get further into it, there are going to be things that we implement to make sure that it's 100% confidential. Our photographers, we interview them, we vet them. They all sign privacy agreements. They sign these notices, these user agreements, and things like that. So, if we catch them doing anything, we'll definitely take the appropriate action. Hopefully we don't run into anything like that, but we're going to do our best to make sure that the customer is protected on all costs. Now, really quick, as far as your photos, when you have your photos taken by a photographer now, most of the time you sign an agreement that says they can use them on their website, on their portfolio, however they want. You don't have that with us. Your photos are your photos, all of them. Our photographer isn't going to take your photos that they take of you and your wife or your kid's birthday party and use them on their portfolio. We eventually might reach out and ask customers, because we have access to them, of course, and the customer always knows that. We might eventually, hey, can we use your photos for this specific purpose, and maybe work out an arrangement with the customer. But that'll be QikPix. That will have nothing to do with the photographers or editors. So we're just going to do our best, but that's how we're operating right now. Want to wrap it up?
Yeah, what can the people in this room do to help you get over your next hurdle?
So you guys said you were going to ask that. I'd really like everybody, honestly, to just check out the service, because even if you might not use the professional photography aspects or the editing, I guarantee you guys know somebody, and I want to bring everybody value, and I know that we can. So I'd really like everybody, get on the Facebook, share it to your daughter, or your granddaughter, or your friend, or your sister, or your brother. Share it to whoever, and just let them know, hey, there's this company. This is what they do. They have great price points, and share it and kind of get the word out there. And another thing that I'd really like to do is I want to bring value back to the communities that we work in. So I've been in Peoria a few times now. I'm not from Peoria. I'm from Normal, but I like giving back. So I'll give you an example. My brother reached out to me about his son's Boy Scout troop. My son used to be a part of it. He said, hey, they always have these derbies and rallies and all this stuff, and they don't have a lot of money. It's Boy Scout troop. So what we did is we went in, they set up this day for their biggest derby rally with the cars and everything, and they brought in all these Star Wars guys, and we showed up, we took hundreds of photos, gave them all back to the parents. We didn't charge them. It was all completely free. We didn't force feed our cards down their throat, use our service. It was just one of them things that we just wanted to do. We knew the organization just don't have the funds to hire a photographer that's going to do an event with hundreds of people because they're going to charge thousands of dollars. So we showed up and we did it for free. So I want to do more stuff like that. So if you know something in the area, if you're a small business owner and you have an event or you're a startup, I love helping other startups. I found tremendous respect within the community. So if you fall into that category, if you know somebody that does, give them my card or get a hold of me on Facebook, or my phone number's on all my stuff because I'm the direct contact. Just let me know if there's anything like that. That's what I want to do, is I want to help give back to the communities that have helped me and the individuals that have helped me, like Randon and the other gentleman that put this stuff on. So I want to be able to do that. So if you guys have that, and you can like our page and maybe share it, and then also let me know if there's any way that we can help you and provide the services. I definitely love to work something out and do that for the Peoria area, because I've been here a few times now and I haven't been afforded the opportunity to give anything back yet. So,
All right, man. Thanks, Jarek.